Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to DWTT. This is what I saw. I'm Gary, and yeah, it's been a little while since I've done a recording. Been a little while since you've seen me live on a show, but I just wanted to give you my thoughts of the last season, how it went. Some of it you've already heard, some of it you may not, or you know what, you're gonna get it all here anyway. So let's see how this goes. So, let's talk about Arsenal season in a review. Coming into the season, I had the team plan. My thoughts were the team would finish between fifth and seventh. That's kind of where I figured they would be. Fourth and third were kind of a overachievement, based on the way that the team was structured the previous season, and definitely based on the way we started our or ended our transfer business right before the season started. Didn't see any incomings that kind of gave me the thought that we're gonna be able to get that top four. So for me, fifth through seventh was okay. I would have taken that. I think most people would have taken that as well. The way the season started, definitely would have taken fifth if you knew that was the how you would start the season. Um, so there you go. So we'll take it. I'll take fifth. Is it an overachievement in my range of places? I don't think so, because I figured we would improve because we were eighth. So anything better than that would have been good. Seventh would have been disappointment. Fifth is right where is what I was hoping for. Anything better would be an overachievement. A lot of people have said that it's an overachievement based on the way the season started, but I figured we would get in some improvement from our youth. I didn't realize we would have to depend on them so much, but we did, and they actually, they did really good, really well based on the circumstances that they were presented with, especially based on the summer, at least that Saka had to go through. Yes, we bring it up all the time, but it is something that players have to go through, and young players shouldn't have to go through some of the things that he did. Uh, the experience of missing the kick, yes, I get that. Everything that comes after that, nah, I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's what anybody would say. You know what? Going into my football career, I'm going to have to deal with this stuff on top of just the football. Yeah, so he did well, and I believe for me, Milsroof Rowe and Martinelli also did well under the circumstances. I expected Pepe to come through based on the way that he finished the season, and that will be telling based on the way that we saw how Eddie had finished off this last season. So hopefully we do not see a repeat of that, because that was disappointing to see the way that we ended the season with some of our players and the way that they started up the new season, basically the whole season, in Pepe's sense, what we saw from Pepe. So yeah, so the youth did what they needed to do. We needed to see steady improvement from them. I believe we did. They're 22 and under, 21 and under going into the season, giving you what they did. We'll take it any day. 10 plus goal contributions in a season. Saka almost 8, almost 20. What more do you want out of the youth? I did expect to see a little bit of a turnaround from Aubameyang. I expected to see oh, Lacazette to provide whatever support was needed. That's, from a scoring threat, that's basically the core there. Hoping for a strong midfield with Partey staying healthy. Um, that was another thing that I thought, okay, yeah, if Partey can stay healthy, will be good. I don't think he started the way we wanted him to, but um, he did show us in parts of the season why he's maybe worth that money, but then it's still not worth it if you don't get it for most of the season. Our back line, once again, we had the whole Saliba talk comes up. Should he stay? Should he go? Arteta gave him the decision, which seems to have paid off now. But at the time, I think it would have been best suited if Arsenal had a process in place, that we keep talking about this process, a plan in place. He would have gotten the experience that he wanted and the minutes that he needed with Arsenal if things went a certain way. Um, maybe, maybe, but he got the start, and we saw the results of that. So, but yeah, the defense is going to be a struggle. We knew uh, Tierney, once again, can he stay healthy? You know, Goalkeeping, for me, I didn't really think we needed to make any changes coming into the season, but we did. And so that's kind of my thoughts, kind of going into the season, how they went, and as the season progressed, the way we started, pretty sad and bad for me. Many thought, oh, you can't lose all of that and still actually perform. I think you're going to have to, because we saw at the end of the season we're going to have to deal with adversity. It comes at any. It doesn't. There's no plan for when it's going to come, and it came for us at the first game of the season, and that's just part of the job. And we didn't have a proper answer for it. I know Brentford's first game back in the top flight, on the road, all of that. But this is why you get paid to do this job. You never know when these things are going to come up, but you have to have an answer for them, and you have to put your team in a situation to succeed. I keep saying that. I'll keep saying that until I'll keep saying it all the time. If your players aren't set up for success, and you're setting them up to fail, guess what? They'll fail, and that's what we saw in that first game. I think we did not plan what would happen if we just assumed everything would be okay, and that's not the way to work. You need to have a backup plan. We keep talking about it. Plan B, didn't have one. First game of the season, oof, smacked right in the face. The next two games against two of the top teams in the league, we just did not look prepared for that, and we knew coming into the season that was the game. That was the three games we're going to play. So it's not a surprise who you're playing on the road, when, how, why, all that stuff. You already knew it. So you needed to plan for it, and I don't think we were prepared enough for that. We tried to play a style of play that kind of put us in a high risk, low reward situation, and we got the risk overburdened us. So yeah, so that's how we started the season, and we started to get back into the the season as it progressed, and we started to see some good things out of the team. I mean, we did struggle with some of the low teams in the table. We were able to get wins from them, but low. I believe that this is the team as a whole. We did what we needed to do. I believe. Would have liked to have seen it done a little bit differently, but we did. Kind of looking at the way the schedule went, the first 15 games or so of the Premier League. Premier Aubameyang was was up top, captain. Once we got past those first three games, we were able to get on a nice non-losing streak. We didn't lose until late in November. So from start of September to November, we were able to continue not lose any games. That was really good. Low scoring games for me. I think the Brighton game stands out because I thought that was one where we probably could have stolen some points there. We came out and we looked like, we let the weather overcome us in that game. At that point, that was one where I kind of stands out for me in the Erdegaard kind of discussion as to how his season went. That was one game where I thought he looked overwhelmed for him, and for me, it looked like Emil Smith-Rowe kind of had to back him up, which is good. I need to see that, but I need to see it, both ways, and it was good to see. But it kind of put our team in a situation where we were threatened, and we just weren't playing with a full 9 or 11 players, and that's kind of been part of what we saw in that first part of the season. We just did not have a full 11 players that we can depend on all the way through. As the season went on, I believe we had closer to 11. We had 11, but maybe we could, we needed just better. That's all. At that point, Aubameyang just wasn't clicking, right? There was talk coming into the season that he was going to go to Barcelona, and surprise, he did. And I guess I'll take a little step back because, as the season started, we were still looking at our squad and going, wow, we're still light. But Arsenal did pull in the stops, and they did bring in Ramsdale, which many thought wasn't a plus. They brought in Tomiyasu. Who's this guy? Sambi and Tavaj. All right, so they're going to be backing up our injury-prone players. That sounds like a good answer. Young players, we'll see how they'll do. Erdegaard was coming back, of course, after his loan period, so that was good to see that loan worked for us in the eyes of Arteta. And who else did we bring in? We had 6 players coming. Why can't I think of the 6 players? Yeah. I'm looking at the list of players that we had here. So, um, who else? Oh, Ben White. Yeah, I guess that's probably the problem there. I forgot that we also brought in Ben White. But yes, we brought in Ben White. All right, that's going to be our center back. Many wondered why we didn't go for the better of the 2 tandems at that Ben White was playing with. But you know what? That's probably why they were okay to let him go. We got him. All right. Well, let's go see how he does. Right. Saliba's out the door not out the door, but on loan. And White was going to be the man in the middle with Gabriel. A nice young tandem there. Let's see how this goes. Took a little while for them to get into the games because of just getting into the squad. And that's kind of my reasoning, and that's why when Arteta said I need to get my players in early, I thought that was going to be the case. And once again, the players are coming in late. You got to give them a week or 2 to get acclimated. And it's going to take a while for them to understand what Arteta wants and actually provide that kind of and put that out there. Whatever Arteta's looking for took a while. But I think once they got clicking, I think we saw what we wanted to see from the incomings. Ramsdale was a big surprise. He basically defeated Leno, which also I think is a bad idea to have 2 starting goalkeepers at that point. You eventually will devalue your goalkeeper, and that's essentially what's happening now. But when you got 2 players at a certain level and you don't play one, people who are looking from the outside in going, well, if you didn't want to use them, why am I going to pay quality monies for that player? This doesn't make any sense on a team. That's why it was probably, but for me, it felt like we should have let him go as soon as we knew Ramsey was going to be the man, especially in January. But that didn't happen, and now teams are even balking on what I believe is a good price for a potential starting goalkeeper for them, but it's not happening. So that was kind of my kind of talk about the transfers coming in. Nice young talent that was coming in. Whether or not it was going to pay out, we'll see, especially with Sambi and Tavaj, which the reasons why I thought they were coming in were to back up, and they probably were at first, but I just don't think the team did good research on them because of what was needed and where their levels are. Are they ready to take on a Premier League schedule, especially under the gun when we never know when they're going to be needed? And Tavaj, I think, got called on earlier when Tierney, of course, goes out, and so he has to. He actually did really well, but like anything else, and like we saw towards the end of the season, eventually they're going to have to sit for a little bit, get their head right, get their mind right, get their body right, and that just didn't happen. So yeah, it didn't work out for him, and I think for me, it's not even that it didn't work; it's that some of the things that he wasn't doing are things that I think should be trained. Positioning yourself such that the offensive player doesn't get the benefit, doesn't get the advantage is key. You don't really have to be as fast if you can think 2 and 3, 4 steps ahead, and he just never seemed to do that. Seemed to get lost in emotion and kind of fall asleep at the wheel for a little bit. Next thing you know, the offensive players all got the upper hand, and that's how he, that's kind of how he went from being a, yes, we're happy to have him, to like, oh boy, he needs to probably go on loan and get better prepared for this, which is good and bad depending on where he goes. I would assume you want to keep him in England, so at least he can be playing in the environment that he's going to continue to play in. But we'll see how that all goes. So that as the game, season comes along, like I said, we keep, we're winning games on more than we are losing, right? We'll take that any day, right? So hit that. January period where you think, okay, let's see if we can get something out of this, right? And January comes, um, and we don't do much. Just trying to see here. We had some games here, and I don't see them on my list. Oh, I don't see them here. So let me see if I can find all the games that we played. Yeah. So here we go. So yeah. So that basically Boxing Day, and then between Boxing Day and basically, you know, February were dark days for us, right? Um, Boxing Day, we get a win uh, against Norwich City, big win at home. Sorry, on the way or on the road, and then we have a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna play City to start off. To start off the new year. Oof. We actually started really good. Arteta was out for, I believe, out for COVID. Airport Albert Stuenberg, I believe his name, if I get it correctly, was going to be in. So how are we going to play without Arteta there? Is the team going to play a little bit freely? Uh, I always, people talk about the best games of the season are all kind of wins that we came in and got, but I kind of feel like that was the first of, a couple of games, if not halves, where I looked at it and I said, if this is what he's planning to do, then I'm all for it. First half against City was really, really good. We probably could have been up 2 goals. Probably could have scored 2 goals in that game, but we did not. Kind of let them back in. As I recall, that is that is the one. If you look at the 2 games that I will say are what I believe are some of our best games this season, they both have a common trait to them, a Xhaka card, basically a penalty. Not necessarily in the City one was that warranted all on him, but he did put himself in a bad situation and got punished for it when once again VAR does not help us or take it away either way. We got punished there. We did play a really good game in there. We probably should have had the 2 goals at the worst. We should have drawn with them the way they were playing. They were getting away with calls, which is, I think we're going to have to get used to that. The same person that's getting away with it is the one that scores the winning goal for them. I think it's Rodri, I believe. So yeah, but for me, that game, I like to bottle that and ferment it and make it better. Create lots of bottles and do that all over again for the rest of the season is what I would have liked to have seen. I have a feeling the reason why we did not see it as much is because of whatever Arteta has in his head in terms of what he wants to do with his team. Because I can't see how you cannot look at that game and then go, that was a really good game. And people say, but you lost. Yeah, but that's how if you can play like that and get better at it, you're not losing too many games, right? And you thought after that game, the way we have played, we come into the next game against Nottingham Forest. If we can play anywhere close to that style, if that's what he wants, we'll be fine. Third round of the FA Cup, we should be able to handle Nottingham Forest, right? Nothing. This is a forecasting to what could happen next season, right? Based on where they are and where they're going. But yeah, no, we went a road match and struggled the whole game. They ended up getting a goal. Yeah, bad. We should be able to handle them, regardless of who we put out, and that's where we should be. We should be able to go into a third round match like that and get the win. Especially when you're not playing when you're playing a championship team. If not, then your plan is just not working. So not only so that happens there. So then essentially at that point, that's when You know, it looks like Lacazette will now be our captain for a while. He's been a captain a couple times in the season, but at that point now he's going to be our full-fledged captain, probably for the foreseeable future. You know, that's what it looked like at the time, but things changed. But I believe Art Lacazette did exactly what he needed to do when he came in. He needed to settle things down. You know, he played everywhere, which is kind of what you want from your captain. The one thing you would like for your captain also do is that wherever they are required to be, that they are there so the team can progress as well. He needed to be up top. He needed to be scoring goals. That's probably one of the core criteria for his position on the field. He did come back and play defense, but we needed him up top just as much. I don't think he could have handled it, and I don't expect him to. That's the thing. I expected him to try to bring the team up, bring the team together, but then also help them out in the scoring department, because that's what we were lacking coming into the season. We needed a strikers. I thought we would go out and get one. I thought when Eddie was on, maybe going to Crystal Palace, that would follow through and we would get the player that they ended up actually getting. Right, there were a couple of young strikers out there that would have been good on our team, a little bit more established as far as I'm concerned in terms of their performances, and who would be all the better for it. But that didn't happen. So we kept our same striking core that we had before. I don't know if that was just convenient, just not to do anything, but I believe that was a little bit lazy, and I think we paid for it. Aubameyang at this point is gone off the team. He's actually so determined to leave that he takes a flight without a contract to Barcelona, waiting outside the gates as we kidded, eventually getting his contract, and Arsenal basically paying him to stay away. Disappointing plan, you know, and it sets a precedence that now any team looks at Arsenal players and goes, "There's no way. Why am I going to spend money on a player when you're giving them away and allowing them to and paying off their contracts and whatnot?" So I think it's that comes back to haunt you. But there were players to get in that January time period, and we just did not. Arthur Melo was one, but you know, that didn't happen. I'm just going to take a little bit of a pause here, and let's see if I can take a pause. I haven't done that before. That would be interesting if I could do a pause here. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, and I'll be right back. Hello. Sorry about that interruption there. Hopefully everything's okay. Just got a call that I had to take in the middle of recording, you know. So we'll see. We'll see how this comes out when I piece these things together. But yeah, so we were talking about kind of that middle part of the season in the January period. Aubameyang is gone. He really wants something, so he goes out and gets it. Imagine that. We want him to score goals for us. He won't do it, but he wants to go to Barcelona. He goes out of his way and does that. So, yeah, all right, we'll take it. Meanwhile, the team chugs along, struggles through that January period. 2 losses to City and Norwich Forest, and a Liverpool draw. So now we have, let's step back a little bit. Now we have I think it's the semifinals, I believe, of the EFL Cup. Against Liverpool. Going to be a tough one, right? Yeah. Well, first game we come out once again. Here we go. Big team. How are we going to do? We need to play really, really good against them. Crazy part about that is we played well. I mean, I think we should have scored. I believe we had opportunities to score in that game. And sometimes when I say that, you look at the sheet and you don't see the stats that prove it. But a lot of times it's the pass before the shot kind of thing that comes up. But I think in that game we had some opportunities to score and we just did not do that. Came back to haunt us. We lost a man. Surprise, surprise, right? I think we lost a man in that game, right? We had to play short-handed in that game, right? Who did we lose? Who did we lose again? Oh, imagine that. Early part of the midway through the first half, Xhaka gets a red. Um, Basically looks like a karate kick, kicks a player, and 0-0 at that point. But I think before that we still had opportunities to maybe get a goal in a little bit early. We weren't able to do that, but I think would we have rather him stay on the pitch and continue to play the way we were playing, but maybe we give up a goal because we give away a breakaway at that point? I don't know. But he's off the pitch and the team plays much better. We're able to hold on to that 0-0 score line and go in with everything on the line in the next match. Got a week to do that. We're playing at home. You would think that's in our favor, right? But we are playing Liverpool, so it's not so fast. Game was tight, but then I just don't think we had it in us to get by in that match. I believe they scored. They scored early and late. The man Jota did us. Eventually, Partey does end up getting a red card coming in. I think he had just come back from AFCON. Was it too soon? It's easy to look back now and say, yeah, it probably was too soon, but only Arteta would know that, and the coaching staff would know whether or not he can come in off of AFCON doing all that work. I think, and then come in and actually perform. He showed up, but I just wasn't right. I think it was a little too soon, and it showed. He ended up getting a red card at some point late in that game. It's over by then, but still, could have used him. Could have. It would have been nice to have him back after that to redeem himself, but we couldn't. And so now you've got. I think at that point we have Xhaka, and I think we have Partey out in the next match, as I recall. I'm just checking the lineup for that. But yeah. So we are. So we've got Zombie, and who's he playing against? Next to. I'm looking at the lineup here, and Zombie, I guess, was going to play single pivot back there, based on the way that the lineup was, because had Ramsdale, Tierney, White, Gabriel, Saka, Odegaard, Lacazette, Emile Smith Rowe, Rob Holding, and Martinelli. So yeah, Zombie's going to play right in front of that back line, I believe. Probably not the best place for him at that point in his career and his time with Arsenal, but that's what we did. We struggled in that game, and it was a 0-0, right? Burnley will eventually get relegated. We didn't know it, didn't know at the time, but we did know we were playing a really poor team. Should have got points out of that one, and that's going to be the theme as we go along. Should have got points. The stretch, right? We always go back to the stretch where we lost both to Manchester United and Everton. Both games we had an opportunity. I think we lost points in those. We had leads in them and let them back. Everton game probably went the way it was supposed to. They had many a chance to get ahead of us, I believe, in that game and pull away, but eventually they did. We weren't able to keep it close and paid for it. And these points all come back to bite you later on. But yeah, so the Burnley points loss is probably a big one, in the sense that it is against a team we should definitely beat no matter who we have on the pitch. And that's going to be, like I said, the theme for a lot of this stuff. You're going to look back and go, damn, point here, point there, point here, point there. There's 3 points, and we definitely get 4th place. Do we deserve it? You deserve whatever you get if you work hard for it. So if you got the extra 3 points, you deserve 4th. Nobody's going to take away that. Is it what you're playing for? No, you're playing to win, be number one at the top of the table at the end of the day. But you gotta take steps. Nobody's jumping from where we were in eighth to finishing first, based on the way the team was structured and who we have at our disposal. Right, Arteta's just not ready to do something like that. Um, Maybe in a number of years from now he'll be that kind of a guy, but by then he'll probably have a team set up that's worthy of getting into that position. So yeah, what else do we have? Yeah, so as I say, kind of going through this review of the season, we finish up the season. If things are looking good for us to finish in the European spot. At some point, we're even thinking we can get third if we do what we need to do, and that was definitely achievable. There are games to end that season. I mean, if you look at all our losses, we scored 1 goal in all our losses, and that's telling in the sense that we're playing against most of the teams we played against are teams that we had even beaten before, or I think we should be able to beat them. Most of them. I mean, Liverpool definitely not. Crystal Palace, Brighton, Southampton, Tottenham, and Tottenham. I said that team, and Newcastle should have been able to get a goal scored, more than 1 goal scored in those 5 games. Right? I think we're better than that. Did the season wore down on us? It could have, but the last game of the season against Everton, we showed that we had some goals in us. So we're asking for just one of those 5 games to do the exact same thing, get us a win, and they could have got where they wanted to be. I think the team depth was a problem, and I think that's a January window, but I also think that's the squad, the way that they decided to build a squad, and essentially let some players go on loan, right? Players on loan. It could have helped us. Yes, they may not have been the answer, but spreading yourself thin when you don't really need to, and the players going away. Did they go away for a good reason? Because most of them are coming back. All right, so nothing beneficial happened by letting them go, as far in my eyes, in terms of future transfer business, whether or not they get better on the pitch, because they're not going to play as much, and they're not playing for you. So the performances they have may not fit your style, right? And that's Arteta's got to deal with that as well. So yeah, the way the season ended, I'm going to say not getting fourth is a disappointment. Fifth is right where I thought we would be, so I'm content with that. I'm happy with that. The young players playing well, we'll take that any day. The older players, that's been a problem for us. Hopefully we answer that problem. Those questions we get the answers for those questions, and we get better, we get older, and we get a little bit wiser. This last part of the season also is the turning point where Lacazette, due to some of his performances just not being able to provide what Arteta needed, he sits, and Kedia comes in. Martin Odegaard now is our captain. Maybe this is the future of Arsenal. We always said somebody was going to take over that armband. Odegaard seemed to be the man. He's captain in the Norway side, probably worthy of it. And everybody else that is in that same boat either has not been a captain before or is not available. So there you go. Eddie came in, bang, bang, bang. We win games against Chelsea, Man United, and West Ham. That surprised us. Prior to that, we lost games, right? Crystal Palace, Brighton, Southampton. If they were flipped, would we have said, oh, we lost an opportunity there? Yes, we would have said that. But not as, you expected to win those first 3 games. The next 3 are going to be a challenge, but you hope to get a point or 2 out of them. And if you got a win, perfect. If you drew all 3, even all the better for it, right? The fact that we lost 3 and then won the next 3 it just shows that this, a young team, yeah, which is kind of what they do, but also it shows that we just don't have people who's bringing up the team when things are down. We don't have that. That's the other part. We don't have that situation, so that was a problem. What else do we have going on? So that's how we ended the season. We'll take fifth. We should take it and be happy with it. We need to build. We need to be able to score more. We need depth. You know, things that everybody else needs. Concept of a striker, I think is a stretch because there isn't that many out there that we want, that we can afford, that bring us what we need. Many times you'll hear somebody say 20 goals a season in the league. Not too many out there that can do that for you. We need something better than what we had. We got about 9 goals from our strikers combined. Um, when Gabriel Margalès has as many goals as your top striker in the league, not a good sign. One of the top scoring defenders is on par with your strikers. It's a really bad look. So we don't really need 20. You give us double that, that's 5 goals. Who knows? That's 5 goals. Plus, they were going to create situations where you have somebody more. You have more people in the box. It opens it up for everybody else. That's about 5 goals from your forward. I call it a striker, but those 5 goals maybe equate to another 10 goals we score going forward. We need to that number needs to be close over 70. I think we got about 61 this year. Better than what we thought because we were getting like in the 50s before. And this is on a team that was just worn down towards the end of the season. Didn't score in 5 of the last 10 games that they played, I believe. So yeah, when you do that, then you know that you've got some easy answers to the questions as to how to score better. Defense scoring, defense getting the goals against. I believe that's more of a depth issue. You put players out there and you're not able to rotate them. Either they gonna give you bad performances, or eventually they're out of the game, and that's kind of what happened, right? Tyranny, I think we seem to have an answer for it with Tabaj. I think if there was constant rotation with those players, maybe they would have lasted. Maybe Tabaj would have been better. Tomiyasu and Cedric, I think, worked fine. But once again, if there was more rotation, would Tomiyasu have made it through the season? I don't know. That's the problem. These players came in late. Is that a problem? And as to Tomiyasu coming in late and getting injured, not being able to go, and then injuring both. I think it was both hamstrings. Did he get rushed back? Same thing with Partey. We need to be in a situation where we don't have to rush players back just because they look 100% on the day. They need to be 100% to be able to play, and that 100%, the level of that will change. They're perfect to play, but maybe they're not at that level, the top level. But we'll take it. That's what we need to be able to do, and we haven't done that yet. We seem to rush players back in. It hurts us, but that's where we stand. That's it for what I saw. Top players for me. I know definitely Saka, Ramsdale, and for me, it's I guess Erdegaard in many people's eyes was one of the top players as well. I agree in some cases, but then I also go, when I start looking at him, then I get disappointed in some of the play. But he definitely is somebody who I think is going to be long for Arsenal. So we'll be fine there. Wasn't expecting him to be all tens at every game, but I think based on where we are, I think he did really well. Ramsdale and Saka definitely stood out a lot more for me. Saka gave us a lot more threat. Martinelli, gave us threat without any finishing. Ramsdale, when he was on, really, really good towards the end of the season, like everybody else. I kind of still wanted to see some of that fire in him. Just didn't happen. As a team, I think that's where you need to have some sort of rotation. Players need to come in and out of the game, in and out of games, and we just never did that. And hopefully Arteta has learned that players just can't play 38 games straight without any kind of a rotation. And that's what we had to do. I mean, Saka played 38 games. Yeah, his numbers are high because of it, but he played 38 games and he was still, providing some results at the end of the season. Could he do it all the way through? No, I think we lost. You could see that in the game against that team in Newcastle. We just did not have it from everybody. But yeah, well, those players stood out. Arteta needs to learn a little bit more. Hopefully Albert can get in his ear. Um, so let's see how this goes. All right. Arsenal finishes fifth. We'll take that as an improvement from the previous season. That's where I thought we would be. But, top four European Champions League spot is kind of where we need to be. That's kind of, doesn't matter how we get there, because if we win a trophy and get there, we should take that. Finish in fourth would be preferred, I think, in most people's eyes. But if we finish fifth or sixth and finish with a trophy that gets us in the Champions League, we take it, right? Definitely take it. So that shows progress, because you have a lot more games on your plate, and if you're able to get a trophy out of it, get Champions League, then that's the best. If you're finishing really strong third or fourth place, then yeah, that's another thing. But your depth needs to be able to show that. So thank you for joining the show. I'll do another show. Probably have I'm planning on see if I can do it. My five for the players of the that I looked at this season, and maybe my five of the players going into next season. We will have a show with all the fellas. Soon. I know I said it in June. Probably going to do it mid-June, late June. Then we're going to get started, because things will start be moving along there in that point of time. We'll see about the weekend show. I still want to do it, but it's just had a lot of stuff going on in my going on here where I haven't been able to do what I need to get it prepared and ready to go. But we'll see. So like I said, thanks for joining me. We'll do this again. Enjoy doing these shows. I can just go and ramble. As you see me on some of the shows, I just talk and talk and talk. Now I get to do it all by myself, and nobody's feeling a little bit lost or deprived of time on air. So here we go. All right, everyone. Thank you very much. As I like to say, life is a journey. Don't waste the trip. Enjoy the ride. All right. Thank you. Talk to you later.